Hi, everybody. I hope that you're having a good week. Last week we talked about Jesus' miracles during our class and during our lesson. This week we're going to be talking about the parables of Jesus. One interesting thing about the parables of Jesus is that you only find the parables of Jesus in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. You don't actually find any of Jesus' parables in the Gospel of John. Now, a parable is a story that's designed to teach a lesson. A parable uses an illustration or a real life situation that people are familiar with, know about, or understand to teach them a lesson that they don't already know or have figured out. That's why sometimes Jesus' 12 disciples have to ask Jesus to explain what his parables mean. They just didn't get it. And that brings us to the reason why Jesus taught using parables. For those who did get it, who did understand what Jesus was teaching them with his parables, that was a gift from God. God had given them the ability to understand his parables and to apply it to their life. But for those like Jesus' own disciples and others who struggled to understand Jesus' parables, they really had two options. The first thing they could do is either ask Jesus to explain the parable and get further teaching from Jesus and look to him for help to understand it, like Jesus' disciples did, or they could turn away from Jesus. They could say, well, I don't understand what he's saying or what he's teaching. It's just too hard to understand, and never look to him for help in understanding what he was teaching. And so walk away from Jesus saying, I just don't get it, I don't understand it, and not really look to Jesus for help. So the question for you is, when you read your Bible, when you're reading the New Testament, if you don't understand one of Jesus' parables, what will you do? Will you ask Jesus for help to help you understand what he's teaching and what he's saying in that parable? Or will you skip over that part of the Gospels, thinking that if you can't understand it, then it must not really be that important anyway? Well, I'm here to tell you that Jesus' parables are very important because they are God's words to us, and they teach us very important things. The parables teach us things like what God's kingdom is like and what happens in it. They teach us about what God is like and what Jesus is like and what his ministry is all about. They teach us what it looks like to follow Jesus and to be one of his disciples. The parables of Jesus have so much to teach us, and we have so much to learn from them. And I can't wait to share the parables of Jesus with you next week. God's blessings on your week.